Jen Stencel, who is going to give a short presentation on sparking curiosity and books that will allow you to spark curiosity. And Jen, if you give me a second here, I'm going to pull up your bio because live streaming has me slightly unprepared. Just one second. Jen works at the Akron Summit County Public Library. I do have that much information for you. Jen, I'm going to let you give your actual title and information. I apologize, but so I'm not slowing anyone down.
That's
but
all
Jen
right.
is awesome and has given us, if you've been at World IA Kent in the past, Jen brings our pop-up library every year. And so now Jen is going to give her pop-up library virtually to all of you. Take it away,
Thank
Jen.
you. Thank you, Carrie Ann. And just keep me on tabs with time so I don't run over, and you could just cut me off at any time. Let me get to my, oh, where did my, okay, hold on. Where did my, well, see, now I'm experiencing issues. I lost my Google Slide tab. Where did that go? All right, seems like we're all having issues here. Let me try to get that pulled up here in a second, but I just want to say that for curiosity, I was so pleased when I saw the theme for curiosity because I think that's so uplifting in this time right now that we need something playful and we need something that has no rules, right? We're living in such a time where the rules just seem, well, they seem easy to wear a mask and social distancing, but it's just compounded by everything else. And I love the curiosity aspect because this is something that you can do on your own. There's not a lot of tools to this. Humans already have these tools. We are very curious by nature. And all that it takes is for you to observe and to listen and to watch and to document. So moving on and forward, and I'll get this list up in a moment, but also as a librarian and as a second responder, I just want to say that we're seeing a lot on the front lines in the trenches, if you will, observing how this pandemic is affecting people. And of course, these are the people who you design for and who you create content for. We are observing something called pandemic fatigue, and you know, what is it? It just is what it sounds like. We are a little done with this pandemic, but we know that we have at least a year. I've read articles that it says 2023, perhaps, not to be a downer, but that's our reality, right? To be safe and cautious. And pandemic fatigue brings with it depression, brings with it anxiety, and it brings with it isolation, so mental health issues. And so everyone seems to be in this Venn diagram of these emotions. And I don't know how many of us are immune to those at some level right now. So people are having a hard time focusing and processing information. So as information architects, I just wanted to convey that that's what we're seeing. With people trying to process information, that they're actually in a toxic stress environment. So be curious to these new behaviors. So again, I thought this was just an appropriate theme. And again, I'm still trying to grab my slides here, and for some reason I just cannot. So
I just put them up for you, Jen.
Oh, can you? Thank you. I don't know why it's not allowing me to grab them.
I'm sharing them now.
Thank you. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. So real quick, slide number 2, I just thought to have a little fun with the weather. And of course, today it's 60 degrees almost, but I'm a skier, and I just thought, let's have a little fun and let's play a game. So if you ever ski, just let you know there's green hills. They're easy. Orange Hills are the terrain park, so that's where we're going to go play. Blue Hills could be a little bit more difficult, but challenging and a little bit more technical. So that's the science of curiosity. And I also put in there avalanches, and avalanches represents anybody who might be having problems or are uncomfortable with this process to be curious. Because let's face it, my husband is an analyst and he's not exactly he's a left brain. I'm a right brain. This comes very natural. So let's go on to number 3, slide 3. Let's go into the how-to. I combined for you a whole bunch of books of how to ask questions, how to warm up your curiosity team, as it will, and to start observing what you're seeing out there. The questions are the answer. The Black Book is an absolutely wonderful way to start to challenge your assumptions. I learned that out of that book right there. Reframe Innovation is fabulous. This is one of the very few books that I buy, but Frame Innovation is if you know X, but you don't know Y, and you want this outcome, this is how you approach it. If you don't know X, but you know Y and Z, this is how you approach it. So it depends on what part of the components of your problem do you know, and he talks to you of how you go into addressing and tackling that problem. Observe and unmask. The author absolutely loves Sherlock Holmes, and he learned from Sherlock Holmes that when you observe people and you talk to people, that they give away certain clues. And I thought those are perfect for those folks on the ground who are doing one-on-one interviews, ethnography studies. I thought that would be perfect for you. Think Again is a brand new book, just came out February 2nd. And it's what I loved about this book is basically what he says, listen as if you are wrong. Listen as if the problems that you think you have solved are wrong. So really listen deeply to the people that you are designing for. I'll move on to number 4. Carrie, how am I doing on time? I don't want to go over.
You're doing great. You've got plenty of time. You still have 5 minutes plus we have an extra 10 minutes built in. So
okay. All right, very good. Well, then I'll slow down then. All right, let's move on to number 4. So getting into practice. These are for those who curiosity is you've been out of practice, and I want to put the training wheels back on and approach it in a fun way. These are not IA books. These are not UX. These are not UI books. These are just they come basically from the art world, and that's what I like to do. I like to stretch where and who I learn from, which is how I met all of you. Placemaking, urban designers. So these are some of the books that I got to have you practice. The Art of Noticing, they are prompts in which you do a lot of journaling, but it gets you back into observing. And I used this when we first shut down. I had this book at home with me, and with everything going on, it made me more present, more mindful. And I started to observe, and I think it kept the creativity up, if you will. So again, just prompts. And again, these are things that you can do on your own. Just Curious combines a notebook or journaling with prompts. That's the yellow book. Again, it's just asking questions and documenting. And again, another tool that you can do on your own. I'm going to jump to Seeing the Better City. This is for urban planners, but I thought it was interesting because he's documenting how people interact with structures, with the city, with some, with concrete, if you will. And he talks about how to use your camera to document emotion, how to document interaction, how to use your camera to see more than that's what's happening at the surface. And again, I thought this was perfect for all of us here today, stretching where you're learning from in the professions and the crossover. I don't know if that makes sense, but so I use that here at the library. I'm really, when I'm observing people, I'm trying to, when I observe them, think of it like I'm looking through a lens and what is really going on beneath the surface. What are the emotions registering across their face? Confusion, joy, joy from a serendipitous discovery, maybe. That's what I'm looking for. Humans of New York, you might be curious about that one. I don't know how many of you follow them on Instagram, but this is more of an ethnography for those who really like that. What they do is they follow everyday people, and the way they craft the story of the everyday human is absolutely amazing. Their engagement rate on Instagram is through the roof, simply because how they pull the story from these everyday humans, and they get people to interact and react to the story. And it's just absolutely amazing. It's just a wonderful read. And I don't know if it will help you create your personas, think about how to create your personas in the way that how they crafted Humans of New York. And there's actually 2 books out. This is the most recent one. So how to be an explorer of the world, I'll back up. That's also like the art of noticing. It's getting out, getting into mainly nature, but it's just pausing and noticing and being curious as to why things are happening the way they are. Again, another tool that you can do by yourself. Let's move on to the next slide. Thank you, Carrie, again for your help.
I got you. It's just now my tech is being finicky, so apologies.
The next slide is, oh, thank you. The next slide is going to be of card games that you can play. And the reason I was hesitant to put this in here, but at the last minute, I decided to do so. If you see the game, it's a red game. It says, "We're not really strangers." So why I decided at the last minute to put this slide back in here is the Milwaukee Public Library took this game, and they're doing Zoom programs called Talking to Strangers. And what they're trying to do is 2 things. One, they're trying to bridge people together, connect people together across the city to be restorative and transformative, and to break down barriers, to break down those neighborhoods so people start to come together. Because that's what the pandemic has shown a light, that we need to come together here. And the other thing is was what I touched on, is the isolation, how people are living in isolation, and they're trying to bring the city back together virtually. And I thought you all might be working at home, you all might have lost touch with your teams. It's been almost a year. And maybe your game, quote unquote, to bring this out and to reconnect with your team and get to know each other once again. So that's why I decided to pull these back, this slide back in here. The pink card game is actually Curious card game, and I threw in the happy hour edition because we can't have happy hour after this. So maybe you could have a non-alcoholic happy hour at work and play this game. But again, these are just games to open up conversation, or just to use the cards as really great conversation starters when you're interviewing people who you're designing for, because they really dive deep, and they give you maybe a holistic picture of what's going on in their life. What are they thinking about, more so than designing the app for insurance? Where are they coming from? And we all know that when we design, we have to sit in their shoes and come from where they're coming from, right? So again, just some games for you. And the next slide is for those who are my analysts who are sitting there. They want to know, well, why should I do this? The science behind curiosity. let's see, curiosity studies, the one down in the middle, it's a cross-discipline study of curiosity, curiosity in education, curiosity in social work. So again, all the fields are recognizing curiosity in education, why this is so important. Cracking the curiosity code, this author goes in and she has an index and she'll measure just how curious your company is, and if you score low, then how to fix it. So and in the runaway species, he basically talks about this is what sets us apart from everybody, from all the other species, is our curiosity. We like to bend, break, and bridge things. He says, yes, the cat may be curious, but does anyone ever come home and find the cat that has rearranged their little play structure into something different? No. But as humans, we do that. We'll come home and we'll restructure something, and that's our curiosity, and our curiosity be playful. So again, these are why it's important. Curiosity is important, and why it matters. And so for the last slide here, in terms of a book, I grabbed this one from the art world. So this is when forces are working against you. You have an avalanche. People are being reluctant to try this. The critical response process, basically the first question I thought was fabulous to start the process of when you're in the review stage. And instead of saying, well, what do you like about this? It's what gave you meaning. So it's a deeper question than, well, I like the fact that it's purple. Or I like the fact that what's that in the Fight Club? My arrow is cornflower blue. This dives deep into, well, it gave me meaning that when I used this app to file a claim, it was easy. That was really helpful in my life right now when things are so stressful. So this is being pulled from the art world, but again, it's a stretch, but it might help you dig out of some of these thorny issues that you may have and how to ask the right question. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up by saying you can reach me at J Stencel. I have two J. It should not be two J's in there. I thought I had a typo. It's J Stencel at akronlibrary.org. You can find me at the Richfield Branch Library. If you have any books that you would like to add, please shoot me an email. I've been here in the library world for 25 years. I really appreciate what you do. My first World IA Day was Kent 2016 in the middle of a snowstorm. But I was so happy that I came because there was a presentation on serendipitous discovery, and I've been hooked ever since. I thought that just set me on a rabbit hole of coming back to the library and learning more about serendipitous discovery and how to create those kind of searches. So I am a skier, and this was a terrible year because the snow was great, but the pandemic made me fearful to go out. So that's why you had the ski theme today. And the very last slide is, if you were looking for more information architect type books, UX type books, I do have a Goodread page all set up for you. And it's a bookshelf through the Richfield Branch Goodreads site. Under bookshelf, it's World IA Day Kent. There's at least over 50 books on there for information architecture. And I'm hoping you build a mini library in your organization or some sort of pop-up at your place of work. If you need help building that, I'll come help you. I'll come buy some books for you. Thank you so much and enjoy the day. Stay curious.
Thank you so much, Jen. And if you need her email, it should also be on her Vito profile, which would be in I apologize, it is the event team. She should also be under presenters, but I will add you if something has happened and you are not there.
We have a question from Vito from Alicia. Alicia got up to fill coffee early. What was the rescue book?
Oh, say it again. What was?
The question was, what was the rescue book?
The rescue book.
It was less than a minute ago.
Was it the critical response book?
Possibly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because if that's it, that was under, again, avalanches. It's called Critical Response Process by Liz Lerman, and it comes from the art world. And did I answer the question?
Hey, is that the one, Alicia?
This is the veto chat, so might be a second. Oh, that was it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. It's an oldie but goodie.
All right. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate it so much.